Welcome to The Explainer from Wall Street Club, that's Wall Street Club. Today we're talking about something, well, delicious. It's this surprising world where high fashion meets high-end food. Think about it. A world where the sizzle of a steak is becoming just as big a deal as the stitch of a handbag. We're going to dig into how the global luxury market is jumping into the food and beverage game, and we'll focus specifically on the absolutely booming market for Wagyu beef.
So, here's how we're going to break it down. First up, we'll look at a massive deal that really got everyone talking. Then, we'll get into the why, the strategy behind fashion brands getting into the food scene. After that, we'll look at the crazy demand for premium beef, zoom out for the bigger picture of the global beef market, and then wrap it all up by asking what this means for the future of luxury itself.
All right, let's get right into it. Section 1, the billion-dollar beef deal. We're going to start with the huge news that really kicked off this entire conversation.
So it really begs the question, right? Why on earth would a luxury giant buy a steakhouse chain? I mean, it sounds a little out of left field. You've got haute couture, high fashion, and then you have haute cuisine, high-end cooking. Two totally different universes. Or are they? As we're about to see, that line is getting seriously blurred.
Okay, check this out. On July 31st, 2025, a huge move officially brought these two worlds together. We're talking about a private equity firm, and it's backed by the one and only LVMH. The absolute powerhouse behind brands like Louis Vuitton and Dior. And they made a big, big play right in the world of Japanese steak. So the firm in question is L. Catterton, and these guys are no small players. They're a huge consumer-focused investment firm managing something like $33 billion. And what did they do? They bought a majority stake in a company called Kishokichi. Now, this isn't just any restaurant group. It's the world's biggest chain that's all about Kobe beef, with about 50 spots all over Japan. And if you're wondering why, well, here's the thinking, straight from the people who made the deal. L. Catterton sees a massive, massive opportunity here. Tourism to Japan is just off the charts, and for a ton of those visitors, trying real, authentic Kobe beef is like a bucket list item. It's that one big splurge meal. And Kishokichi, they are perfectly set up to catch that wave of demand. Okay, moving on to our next section, fashion's newest accessory. Because here's the thing you have to understand. This deal, this acquisition, it's not some random one-off move. Not at all. It's actually a super visible piece of a much, much bigger strategic shift that's been happening across the entire luxury world for years now.
See, luxury isn't just about owning a beautiful thing anymore. It's about getting to be part of a beautiful world. Brands are shifting from just selling you products to creating these whole ecosystems for you to step into. Take Dior's flagship in Paris. You can go in, shop for a gown, and then head right upstairs to the Monsieur Dior restaurant. You're not just buying a product. You're literally immersing yourself in the brand's whole vibe, their art of living.
And Dior is definitely not the only one doing this. You've got the Prada Cafe in Harrods. You've got Armani with a global empire of, 20 restaurants? All these luxury houses are using food and drinks to create these really powerful touch points with their customers. It's a super smart, calculated move to boost their appeal in a market that's always changing. And the strategy behind this is just brilliant, really. It works on a few different levels. First, it brings in money from somewhere other than just retail, diversifying their revenue. Second, it builds incredible customer loyalty by creating these amazing, memorable experiences that hit all your senses. And third, let's be honest, a coffee or a nice meal is a much more accessible way to touch the brand than dropping, say, $5,000 on a handbag.
And that is precisely why this strategy is crushing it right now. It taps directly into a huge generational shift in what people value. Younger consumers, millennials and Gen Z, are way more likely to spend their money on a unique experience they can post about and remember, rather than just another physical thing to put in their closet.
All right, so for our third section, let's flip this around. We've talked about the luxury brand strategy, but what about the actual product? Let's look at the incredible consumer demand that's fueling this whole thing, the global craze for Wagyu.
And the numbers here are just, wow. The global market for Wagyu beef is on track to hit nearly $43 billion by 2032. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. That isn't just growth, it's a full-blown global phenomenon.
This chart really paints the picture, doesn't it? We're starting at over $25 billion in 2024 and heading towards that $43 billion mark. That's a compound annual growth rate of almost 7%. And this boom is happening for a few reasons. Wagyu has this reputation for being super premium and even a healthier kind of beef because of its high levels of omega fatty acids. And, of course, there's the legendary taste and that melt-in-your-mouth texture.
And you see this sentiment everywhere. This quote from a Reddit travel forum just nails it. A user says, "Food-wise, one of the main things we want to try is legitimate, high-quality Kobe/Wagyu beef. We're willing to make this a meal in which we splurge." See? For tourists and foodies, tasting real Kobe beef isn't just dinner. It's a destination, an event you plan your whole trip around and are happy to spend big on.
But here's what's really interesting. Where is all this demand coming from? Look at this chart. The Asia-Pacific region is the absolute powerhouse, making up a massive 65% of the entire Wagyu market. This huge regional focus is a major reason why an investment in a Japanese chain like Kishokicha is such a savvy strategic move.
Okay, for our next section, let's zoom out. To really get the full picture, we have to place this niche luxury market inside the giant, sprawling context of the global beef trade as a whole. Let's get a global perspective.
This chart from the USDA reveals a huge power shift happening in the beef world. Because of its low-cost production, Brazil is just gobbling up a bigger and bigger piece of the global export pie. We're talking nearly 30% of the whole market by 2025, and that puts a ton of pressure on everyone else.
And those huge global trends, they have very real local effects. If we look at a key market like Japan, you can see how things like price and supply are causing a shuffle. Australia is actually gaining ground on the United States for beef imports. All this competition has a direct impact on who's supplying the beef for those very Wagyu experiences we've been talking about. Okay, before we get to our final section, just a quick disclaimer. Everything we're talking about today is for informational purposes. It's all based on public sources and definitely does not constitute financial advice.
So, what happens when you put all these pieces together? What does the future of luxury look like when brands move beyond the product itself?
What we're seeing is a fundamental shift, a real evolution of what luxury even means. The old luxury was all about the product. It was defined by ownership, by having that exclusive bag or watch. But the new luxury? It's defined by curated experiences. It's about participation, about being able to access the brand's world, even for a little while.
Which brings us to a final, kind of provocative question. As these brands keep building out these complete lifestyle worlds, could a Michelin star become the new must-have accessory? Is it going to be as desirable as their most famous handbag? It really seems like the very definition of a luxury asset is changing right before our eyes.
And that's it for this explainer. If you want more insights that connect the dots on the big trends shaping our world, make sure you follow us at Wall Street Club. That's Wall Street Club. And hey, if you found this valuable, we'd love a like and a share. Thanks so much for tuning in.